Welcome to the deep dive. Today, you're joining us as we chart a course right through the Australian outback, specifically the Darwin to Broome route.
An epic trip.
Definitely. We've got an article here detailing this, well, pretty incredible 4WD adventure.
Huh.
It talks about the dramatic landscapes, ancient cultures, the top end, the
A
Kimberley.
classic.
So our mission, as always, is to distill this down, give you the essential insights, the highlights of this iconic journey. A shortcut, really.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
And it really is the journey of geographical transition. You start in the top end, Northern Territory, which is all tropical, monsoonal,
Mm,
diverse ecosystems.
right.
And then you move into the Kimberley in Western Australia. Totally different feel. Ancient, really rugged landscapes, and just so much indigenous heritage woven through it.
Okay, so let's talk about the actual route. The article maps it out through some key towns, doesn't it? Darwin to start, then Catherine.
Yep, Catherine, then Kununurra, that's your eastern gateway to the Kimberley. Then eventually Derby on the western side, near the Gibb River Road exit, and finally Broome on the coast.
And it mentions smaller places too, like Adelaide River, Pine Creek, Edith Falls, Timber Creek further on. They all sound like crucial little stops.
They are places to refuel, grab a bite, maybe stretch the legs. Essential out there.
What's really striking is how that landscape changes as you head west. You said the top end is vibrant.
Yeah, it's a great intro, but the Kimberley, that's where you really feel the ancient scale of the place. Just vast and dramatic.
Now, the article lays out two main ways to do this drive. There's the Great Northern Highway.
Right, the sealed road. About 19 and a half hours driving, doable in a 2WD, around 3,200 kilometers,
Yeah.
straightforward.
That's not really the adventure we're focusing on, is it?
No, not today. For the proper outback immersion, the real 4WD experience, it's got to be the Gibb River Road.
Okay, the Gibb. About 660 kilometers unsealed.
Purely 4WT territory. It cuts right through the heart of the Kimberley. River crossings, amazing gorges. That's the adventure. We'll use bits of the highway to connect, but the Gibb is the main event for us.
Perfect. So let's start in the top end then. Darwin down towards Catherine. Litchfield National Park comes up first, just south of Darwin. Sounds like a must-do. The article suggests 2-3 days.
Yeah, easily. Litchfield's fantastic because it's really accessible, but still gives you that proper top-end nature hit. You've got stunning waterfalls like Florence Falls, Wangi Falls.
Easy to get to.
Relatively, yeah.
Yeah.
And swimming holes like Beely Rock Hole, plus those weird magnetic termite mounds. It's a great kind of gentler introduction before things get really rugged.
Okay, so good contrast to what's coming. Then past Pine Creek, historic gold town apparently, and a detour to Edith Falls or Lalin.
Yep, off the Stewart Highway. Good spot for a swim, part of Nitmiluk National Park, so fees apply there.
Right, and then you hit Catherine, or K-Town, about 3 hours south of Darwin, gateway to Nitmiluk and the Catherine Gorge.
Exactly. Catherine Gorge is spectacular. Carved by the Catherine River. You can do scenic cruises, swim, canoe, even helicopter flights, if you're feeling flash.
Sounds amazing. And the article mentions indigenous cultural presentations, Jawoyn culture.
Highly recommended. It adds so much depth to understanding the place. Catherine's got good options for staying overnight, too. Caravan parks, cabins. Oh, and the Catherine Hot Springs are nearby. Nice for a soak.
Okay, so next stage, crossing into the Kimberley. Catherine to Kununurra. This sounds like a big driving day along the Victoria Highway. Early start needed.
Definitely. Full day's drive, and you want to get going early. Make sure you've got fuel, water, the essential. It's scenic, though.
Timber Creek is mentioned as a stop about 2 hours before the WA border.
Yeah, good spot for lunch, break the journey. There's a heritage trail there, too. And just before the border, Keep River National Park is worth a look.
Oh, yeah? Why's that?
It's got ancient Aboriginal rock art and these sandstone formations.
Yeah.
They look a bit like the Bungle Bungles, kind of a mini preview.
Interesting. Then the WA border crossing itself. Big heads up in the article about strict quarantine. No fresh food.
Absolutely crucial. They will check and they will confiscate fruit, veg, honey. Know the rules before you get there.
Got it. Then just before Kununurra, Lake Argyle. This sounds huge.
It is. Largest man-made lake in the southern hemisphere. It's quite something. And the infinity pool at the Discovery Park there.
Oh, I've seen pictures.
Yeah, the views are breathtaking. You could do cruises, spot crocs, wallabies, heaps of birds. Even try fishing for barramundi in the Ord River below the dam. Feels like a real oasis.
Wow. Okay, finally Kununurra. First major WA town, the eastern gateway to the Kimberley. Sounds like a really important stop.
It is. It's your main resupply point before you tackle the Gibb River Road properly. Stock up on everything: food, fuel, water, any last-minute gear. Plus, it's got sites like Lily Creek Lagoon, Miramar National Park. the mini bungles.
Plenty of places to stay and eat, too, listed in the article. Seems like a proper hub.
Definitely. Last bit of relative civilization before the big remote stretch.
Right then, the main event. Embarking on the Gibb River Road. Kununurra towards Derby. First major stop mentioned is El Questro Wilderness Park. Huge place, 1,000,000 acres. Recommends 2+ days.
Yeah, El Questro is almost a destination in itself, about 100 kilometers west of Kununurra. So much to do. Emma Gorge is a highlight, bit of a challenging hike, but the waterfall and thermal spring pool at the end, totally worth it.
Sounds incredible. And Zebedee Springs.
Zebedee Springs. Just beautiful thermal pools surrounded by palms. Really relaxing, but it's only open from 7 a.m. till noon, so you need to get there early.
Good tip. What else at El Questro? Chamberlain Gorge?
Yep, you could do a cruise through Chamberlain Gorge. Red cliffs, lots of wildlife.
Yeah.
And then there's the Pentecost River crossing within El Questro, different from the main Gibb crossing later. Good spot for photos with the Cockburn Ranges behind. But watch out for saltwater crocs if you're fishing for barra. Don't swim there.
Right, noted. Lots of activities too. Hikes, horse riding, fishing tours.
Helicopter flights.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a real adventure hub. Accommodation ranges from the fancy homestead to safari tents at Emma Gorge and camping at the station.
Okay, moving west from El Questro. Next up is Home Valley Station, or HV8, another huge property, 3.5 million acres, owned by the Indigenous Land Corporation.
That's right. It's about 120 kilometers from Kununurra. Great views again from the Cockburn Ranges lookout. You can explore Bindula Creek, more barramundi fishing in the Pentecost River.
And this was a filming location for the movie Australia.
Yep, parts of it were filmed around there. Adds a bit of trivia. They've got various accommodation types too. And Dussie's Bar and Grill, which sometimes has live music.
Sounds like a good stop. Now,
Yeah.
the Pentecost River crossing on the Gibb near Home Valley. This is a famous one, isn't
This is
it?
the iconic one, yeah. Crossing the Pentecost with the Cockburn Ranges looming in the background. It's the Gibb River Road photo. Sunrise or sunset is magic.
But again, barramundi fishing, yes. Swimming, absolutely no.
Definitely no swimming. Saltwater crocodiles are very present here. The crossing itself varies a lot depending on the time of year, depth, flow.
Yeah.
Got to check conditions.
Makes sense. Okay, about 77 kilometers further is Ellenbrae Station. Another 1,000,000 acres. Famous for scones.
Yes. The homemade scones at Ellenbrae are legendary, a welcome treat in the middle of nowhere. They also have swimming holes, basic cabins, and camping. Good spot to top up water, maybe get a tire repaired.
Practical stops are P. Then Mount Barnett Roadhouse, maybe 80 kilometers on. Refuel, supplies, gateway to Manning Gorge.
Exactly. Mount Barnett is a crucial fuel and supply stop. And yeah, the turnoff from Manning Gorge is right there. It's about 7 kilometers off the roadhouse.
And Manning Gorge itself.
It involves about a 3-hour return hike,
Oh.
including crossing the river. So sometimes you pull yourself across on a little boat, depending on the water level. But the reward is a beautiful waterfall and rock pool for swimming. Some Aboriginal rock art there, too. Basic camping available.
Sounds like a classic Gibb experience. Further west, maybe 120-odd kilometers, we hit the turnoff for Dalmanai or Bell Gorge via Silent Grove Road.
That's the one. Bell Gorge is probably one of the most picturesque gorges on the Gibb. Cascading waterfalls, great swimming. It's about 30 kilometers off the Gibb down Silent Grove Road.
Requires a walk, too.
Yeah, about a 2-kilometer return walk.
Yeah.
But it involves a steep descent and some rocks scrambling towards the end to get down to the main pool. Totally worth it, though.
An accommodation nearby, Silent Grove Campground.
Yep, Silent Grove is the main parks and wildlife campground, about 11 kilometers back from Bell Gorge itself. Need to book that one. It's got decent facilities, flush toilets, showers. There's also APT's Bell Gorge Wilderness Lodge nearby, and another option at a Minchie community further down the Gibb.
Okay, getting towards the western end now. Bandillingen, or Winjana Gorge National Park, about 146 kilometers east of Derby.
Winjana is stunning. The Leonard River has carved this gorge through the Napier Range, which is actually an ancient Devonian reef system like 375 million years old.
Wow.
The walls are incredibly high, and there are these permanent pools where you can see lots of freshwater crocodiles just basking. They're generally harmless if left alone, but still impressive.
Culturally significant, too, for the Bernuba people.
Very much so. It's strongly linked to the story of Janamara, the Bernuba resistance fighter. There's an easy 3.5-kilometer walking trail along the gorge floor where you can see fossils in the rock walls. Camping available there, too.
And not far from Winjana is Dimuluru, or Tunnel Creek National Park.
Yeah, by 38 kilometers southeast, this is another unique experience. It's a 750-meter natural cave system, the oldest in WA, that you walk through.
Walk through water.
Yep, you'll be wading through water, sometimes thigh deep, in near total darkness. Need a good torch and sturdy footwear you don't mind getting wet. You'll see cool rock formations, bats, maybe even a freshwater croc. It was also one of Jandamara's hideouts.
Sounds adventurous. Day use only, though.
Correct. No camping at Tunnel Creek itself. Most people visit from Windjana or Fitzroy Crossing.
So accommodation along the gig, generally it's mostly campsites and station stays like Ellen Bray, Home Valley.
Pretty much. Campsites at the gorges, station stays, which offer camping, and sometimes rooms or cabins, a couple of wilderness lodges like APTs, and the roadhouses like Mount Barnett or Drysdale River Station further north if you do that detour. Booking ahead, especially for anything other than basic camping, is definitely recommended.
Okay, we've survived the Gib. Now the final leg. Derby to Broome. This is back on sealed roads, right? About 2.5 hours.
Yep, sealed road from the end of the Gib into Derby and then on to Broome. Derby itself is the first Kimberley settlement. Interesting place.
The article mentions the Derby Jetty and its huge tides.
Yeah, King Sound has some of the biggest tidal ranges in the world, up to 12 meters. Watching the sunset from the jetty is pretty popular.
And the Boab prison tree. Kunuduj.
That's a massive, ancient Boab tree just outside town. It's hollow inside. Huge cultural significance for the Naikina and Warwa people. Its history regarding use as a prison is debated, but it's definitely linked to the region's complex early settlement history.
Also near Derby, the Mwanjam Aboriginal Art and Culture Center.
Yes, about 10 kilometers out. Really important center showcasing art from the Worora, Garinian, and Winnebao people, known for their Wangina figures. You can buy authentic art, and the museum is excellent.
Sounds like a must visit. Okay, and then Broome, the end of the road, red sand meeting turquoise ocean.
Broome's fantastic. Cable Beach is world famous, perfect for relaxing after the dusty drive. Sunset camel rides, the markets. It's got a really unique vibe, that blend of cultures from its purling history. Lots of accommodation and great places to eat and drink, like Matzo's Brewery.
A good place to finish. Now, for anyone actually planning this, the article gives some essential advice. Best time to go.
Definitely the dry season, May to October. The weather's much milder, typically 20s to low 30s Celsius, lower humidity, and critically, the roads and river crossings are generally open and manageable.
What about the very start of the dry, like April, May?
Can be good too. The waterfalls are usually still pumping after the wet season. Landscape is greener, but river crossings might be higher, so need to be extra cautious. Avoid the wet season, November to April. Heavy rain, floods, road closures, intense humidity, not ideal.
Vehicle prep sounds critical.
Absolutely. A reliable, high-clearance 4WD is non-negotiable for the Gib. Minimum 2 spare tires, the article even suggests 3, plus a tire repair kit and compressor. Recovery gear like snatch straps, shackles, a shovel. A well-stocked first aid kit is vital.
And supplies. Water seems key.
Crucial. At least 5-7 liters per person per day, plus an emergency stash. Plenty of non-perishable food. Fuel planning needs to be meticulous. Carry jerry cans. Paper maps are essential backup to GPS with offline maps. And a satellite phone or communicator. There's no mobile reception for most of the Gib.
Safety advice, apart from the obvious.
Drive to the conditions on unsealed roads. Slow down. Watch for wildlife, especially dawn and dusk. Extreme caution with water crossings. Always check the depth and flow. Use low-range 4WD. Be croc aware near all waterways, freshwater and saltwater. And yeah, that sat phone is your lifeline. Tell some of your itinerary and check in regularly.
Permits and passes needed too.
Yep. A WA Parks Pass covers entry to places like Windjana and Tunnel Creek. Equestro requires its own park permit, daily or weekly. If you detour to Mitchell Falls, you need an Ungu Visitor Pass, plus entry or camping fees at various gorges and stations. Always research the specific permits needed for your planned route, especially if visiting Aboriginal communities like on the Dampier Peninsula.
Okay, quite a lot to plan. But wrapping up this Darwin to Broome 4WD adventure, it really does seem like a unique blend. Natural beauty, cultural depth, and that raw thrill of outback exploration.
Totally. And you get those amazing contrasts we talked about, the accessible beauty of Litchfield versus the rugged challenge of the Gib.
Right, or the deep cultural significance of somewhere like Windjana Gorge right alongside the, modern facilities in Kununurra or Broome.
It's a journey packed with those contrasts, which makes it so memorable.
So for our listeners, thinking about this trip, what aspect really grabs you? Is it picturing that ancient rock art, the adrenaline rush of a river crossing, or maybe just the peace of finding a remote waterhole all to yourself?
Maybe the next step is to dig deeper into one specific area. Research the different gorges along the Gib, look into specific Aboriginal cultural tours, or even just start comparing 4WD hire options. The call of the outback, as they say. It's definitely